April 8th, 2024, there will be a total solar eclipse that has a much different path than this year's. This one will begin in Mexico, then cruise up through Texas, and notice that path of totality takes it right through places such as Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Cleveland, and yes, the Youngstown area as well. So our hotel rooms may be booked up and our interstates may be really packed with a lot of people getting set to check out the eclipse of April 8th, 2024.
I am the chosen one. I am the chosen one.
Wake up, Donnie.
I met a new friend.
Real or imaginary?
28 days.
Imaginary.
6 hours. 42 minutes. 12 seconds. Do you believe in time travel?
I'm going to tell you a little story today about a young man whose life was completely destroyed by fear.
Under a blue moon I saw you, so soon you'll take me.
Wake up.
Up in your
You want to tell Mom and Dad why you stopped taking your medication?
I've been watching you.
speed, the killing time.
Do you believe in time travel?
Fate up against your will, through the thick and thin. You give yourself to him. You give yourself to him.
Wake up, Donnie.
Don't ask me what you know is true. Don't have to tell you I love your precious heart. I was standing, you were there. Two worlds collided, and they could never tear us apart. You were standing, I was there. Two worlds collided, and they could never, ever tear us apart.
I want to be a president of the United States who makes sure that we never again do business with a drug-running Panamanian dictator, that we never again funnel aid to the Contras who convicted drug dealers. Values begin at the top. Those are the values I want to bring to the presidency and to the White House beginning in January of 1989.
Wake up. "28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, 12 seconds. That is when the world will end."
Son, Donnie Darko? Donnie Darko? What the heck's going on here?
Who is it, Don?
It's Eddie Darko's kid. I'm sorry about this, Jim. He's just a neighborhood kid.
Guess he was sleep golfing?
Would you like to talk about this, friend?
Frank.
Frank. What did Frank say?
He said to follow him.
Follow him. Where?
Into the future.
And then what happens?
And then he said that the world is coming to an end.
Do you think the world is coming to an end?
No. That's stupid.
All over America, people have come together to join hands. People who believe that human life is absolutely too important, too valuable, and too precious to be controlled by fear.
Pay close attention. You could miss something.
Hello, my name is Jim Cunningham, and welcome to Controlling Fear.
Donnie is experiencing what is commonly called a daylight hallucination. This is a common occurrence among paranoid schizophrenics.
And she leaned over and whispered in my ear.
What did she say?
I mean, I think Frank wants me to go talk to her, you know, because the last time I saw him, he asked me if I knew about time travel. Two for Evil Dead, please.
$2.
What happened to your eye? Frank? When's this gonna stop?
You should already know that. I want you to watch the movie screen. There's something I want to show you. Have you ever seen a portal? Burn it to the ground.
No, it was ridiculous. I'll call you back. Kitty.
Rose, I'm sure that you're aware of the horrible allegations against Jim Cunningham.
Time's up, Frank said.
When is this going to happen?
Soon.
If the sky were to suddenly open up, there would be no law, there would be no rule, there would only be you and your memories, the choices you've made, and the people you've touched. If this world were to end, there would only be you and him and no one else.
We are finally putting America first. We're putting America first. And by the way, you know, all the rhetoric you used to hear, the 1,000 points of light. What the hell was that, by the way? 1,000 points of light. What did that mean? Does anyone know? I know one thing. Make America great again, we understand. Putting America first, we understand. 1,000 points of light. I never quite got that one. I'm trying to say, what the hell is that? Has anyone ever figured that one out? And it was put out by a Republican, wasn't it?
And the generation born after the Second World War has come of age. I've spoken of 1,000 points of light, of all the community organizations that are spread like stars throughout the nation doing good. We will work hand in hand, encouraging, sometimes leading, sometimes being led, rewarding. We will work on this in the White House, in the cabinet agencies. I've fought for my country, I've served, I've built, and I'll go from the hills to the hollows, from the cities to the suburbs, to the loneliest town on the quietest street, to take our message of hope and growth for every American, to every American. I will keep America moving forward, always forward, for a better America, for an endless, enduring dream and 1,000 points of light. This is my mission, and I will complete it.
He recognized that serving others enriched the giver's soul. To us, his was the brightest of 1,000 points of light.
The Deus Ex Machina in this film was not first discussed in this scene. It comes up in the classroom. I'm going to read the part that we actually hear in the movie before she turns off the video and they move to discussion. Here's the dialogue we hear among the rabbits while the camera is, on the teacher and then on Donnie and then on Gretchen. Okay. I know now a terrible thing is coming. What do you mean? The field, it's covered with blood. Do what? Don't be silly. I think that's what it says. All right, Fiver. It's getting dark. I think we should get back to the burrow. Back to the burrow. It will come there. Don't think it won't. It is all around us. And to now, stop it, Fiver. We've got he stutters. We've got to go away from here. Okay, and that's where the film stops. So it is an interesting thing. It's a scary moment at the towards the end, I guess, of the film and of the book. The film is based on the book that they've been reading in their literature class, and it is about something terrible coming and unavoidable, and the need to get far away to be safe. Okay, now what we're going to do, we'll look at the scene a bit more closely. The dialogue goes like this. The teacher says, and I'm using the script to show this, and the reason is because they cut out two parts from the film. They didn't include some of the dialogue in the film. The director just cut it, I guess, and they're insightful. Okay, you can actually gain some insights into what's going on by looking at what they decided not to include that nevertheless shaped the film the way they were thinking in the making of a film. Very interesting stuff. Okay, so anyways, in here she says, and when the other rabbits hear of Pfeiffer's vision, do they believe him? And Donnie says, why should we care? Notice, what I'm going to say here is, notice Donnie doesn't care about the rabbits here in the scene. Okay? And the teacher responds, because the rabbits are us, Donnie. Now, this is important. What she's saying is actually telling us something about how we're to understand the film in relation to the contents of the book. I mean, here's your rabbits. They're terrified. They're fleeing. They need to flee because something terrible is coming and so on. And so the rabbits are us.
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
When she says that, that's interesting. Now, let's go up and see what she actually was saying in the script that never made it in the film. It says, okay, and when the other rabbits hear Pfeiffer's vision, do they believe him? It could be the death of an entire way of life, the end of an era.
On the farm, every Friday on the farm is rabbit pie day. So every Friday that ever comes along, I get up early and sing this little song. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. Bang, 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 bang goes the farmer's gun. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, 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 rabbit, run, rabbit.
So when she's asking about this, she says, what do you think? Do they pay attention to Pfeiffer's vision? Do they believe him? It could be the end of an era. And Donnie's like, why should we care? Why should we care what? Well, in part, whether the other rabbits believe, whether it's the end of an era for the rabbits, whether they all die. Who cares? This is Donnie's attitude. Okay? Now let's keep going. And he says, why should I mourn for a rabbit like it was a human? So he's treating the rabbits as they are, in fact, in biology. It's just another species, and in fact, a species with inferior cognitive abilities. They don't understand life. They're not equal to humans. Okay, we prioritize one species over another. He's thinking like that. The book, of course, is treating them in an anthropomorphized fashion, and therefore they are like us in the book. In fact, the teacher says they are us, and his girlfriend, Gretchen, is going to go on and disagree with him as well. But he says, why should I mourn for a rabbit like it was a human? What I'm trying to show here is Donnie is setting himself apart from the rabbits. He's viewing this as an outsider looking down on the rabbits as less important.
Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump, we're all cut from the same cloth.
Whereas the teacher and Gretchen, when she says, you're wrong about these rabbits over here. These rabbits can talk. You see, they're not beneath us. They're anthropomorphized. They are the product of the author's imagination. He cares for them, so we care for them too. and she says, we care that their home has been destroyed and that their lives are in danger. That's in the script, never made in the film. Otherwise, we've missed the point. And Donnie goes on, talks about, the inferiority of bunnies here. He says they're cute, I guess, but basically they just live to go around and reproduce and have sex as many times as possible before they die. And there's no point in crying for a dead rabbit who never feared death to begin with. See, the lack of equal cognition, the inability to think like they think, and so on.
What do you see as the biggest challenges in conservation?
The growing human population. Because if where we are, there's nothing else.
And do you have views about what should be done about that?
Can't you guess?
Well, it could be on a spectrum from mass sterilisation to greater availability of contraception. I don't know what your views are as to what can be done about it.
Well, I think it might be described as voluntary family limitation.
And then we developed a vaccine, 3 vaccines in 3 months, in 9 months. And actually, I'll tell you, it was 3 days less than 9 months. And it's great. And you know what? I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know. Okay?
So Donnie continued in this scene to place himself above the rabbits. The teacher says the rabbits are us, and Gretchen, his girlfriend, takes the side of Donnie and actually gets upset at Donnie. Gretchen looks across the room at Donnie with a disdainful expression. At the end of this scene, it's very, this is where we get our deus ex machina, or in the script, they use the feminine dea, okay? But aren't we, the teacher says, forgetting the miracle of storytelling? The dea ex machina, the God machine. That is how the rabbits are saved. Now, this is interesting. In the book, in the story, Watership Down, the dea or deus ex machina is a little girl named Lucy. The Deus Ex Machina is this girl who shows up at the end out of nowhere when the story is primarily about rabbits interacting with one another and so on. And in fact, humans are typically throughout the film viewed as sort of the killers of rabbits. They breed them to eat them or whatever. Okay. And at the end, it's shocking because a girl, human of all people, comes and saves them. One that had 2 rabbits escape earlier in the book, apparently. Okay, now that's the Deus Ex Machina. Now her name is Lucy. In Donnie Darko, the Deus Ex Machina is who? It's the car driven by Frank the Bunny. Okay, the head rabbit, the one that's been, warning him of the end of the world, the one who is, the manipulated dead, who's powerful, time traveling, going through portals, all of this, okay? That rabbit is the one who shows up at the end, and he kills Gretchen, by running her over on accident. And then he gets shot in the eye. But that accident in which he kills Gretchen, Donnie's girlfriend, is the moment when the other guy is startled enough and finally, with this chaos, has to get up and leave Donnie, and Donnie survives.
How long until we get to his estate?
We've been flying over his estate for the past 2 hours.
Caleb, I'm just gonna throw this out there so it's said, okay? You're freaked out. You're freaked out with me meeting me, having this conversation in this room at this moment, right? But can we just get past that? The whole employer-employee thing?
It's good to meet you, Nathan.
It's good to meet you too, Caleb. This building isn't a house. It's a research facility. And I want to talk to you about what I'm researching. You want to see something cool?
Hello?
You are dead center of the greatest scientific event in the history of man.
Do you have a name?
Ava.
Answer me this. How do you feel about her?
Her AI is beyond doubt.
No, nothing analytical. Just how do you feel?
I feel that she's amazing.
Dude.
Do you want to be my friend?
Of course.
Will it be possible?
Why would it not be? Did you know that Nathan brought me here to test you?
Caleb, you're wrong.
Wrong about what?
Nathan, you shouldn't trust anything he says.
Does Ava actually like you? Or is she just pretending to like you? Self-awareness, manipulation, sexuality.
Are you attracted to me?
Now, if that isn't true AI, what is?
Caleb, there's something I want to show you.
Can we talk about the lies you've been spinning me?
What lies?
Today, I'm going to test you.
Why me?
Caleb, you have to help me.
What was the real test?
You.
Is it strange to have made something that hates you? What will happen to me if I fail your test?
Now, if we were to take it and think of it like Lucy, almost sound, you get the Lucifer sound, right? You get the Lucifer idea, okay? The bunny, in a lot of this programming, predictive programming and these symbolic films that talk about rabbits, often puts the bunny in the place of this buck, this one, Mr. Rabbit in Utopia, for example, in the place of Satan or Lucifer. Lucifer comes, kills Gretchen, and that's what saves Donnie.
Alice.
Hurry. Your friends need you.
Emotional, prone to fantasy.
I've got to go back.
Textbook case of female hysteria. Untreatable, some say. I beg to differ.
There's nothing wrong with me.
Don't let her get away! Hurry! You've been gone too long.
Yeah!
And do mind your step.
When is she coming?
Soon. I have always wondered when soon is.
Have I come at a bad time? What has happened?
All will be gone before long.
You should not have come back.
I shall have the heads of all your friends. That sounds very dangerous.
All in Underland will perish.
Every second counts.
How do I look? I can take it.
Cannot escape time.
Revenge is mine. Split up.
We'll split up together.
I will help my friends, no matter what.
I want that!
He's not someone you want as your enemy.
What happened to you?
In the book, Watership Down, it's Lucy who comes and saves the bunny that was being killed, or was going to be killed. Okay, and that's the Dea ex machina. Probably used feminine here, Dea ex machina, to refer to Lucy, who was a little girl. I'm not sure why they used Dea rather than Deus, but then in the film they used Deus. Yeah, the plot of this Watership Down involves police states and despotic generals, that they have to fight against at the end. And, well, they win. But one of them, Hazel, is nearly killed by one of the farmhouse cats, but he is saved by the farm girl, Lucy, the former owner of the escaped hutch rabbits. That's your Deus ex machina. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to a different film, which I think is interesting. Night of the Lepus. Lepus, I don't even know. It's like a species of rabbit, or the genus in which rabbits and hares are found. I think that's what it is. But the idea is it's also called Rabbits. And it's based on a book called The Year of the Angry Rabbit. Is a film that has rabbits. Listen to this. They propose using hormones to disrupt rabbits' breeding cycle and take some rabbits for experimentation. So in other words, they're trying to reduce the population of rabbits by injecting them with something that will prevent them from having offspring. But it doesn't work. It ends up making them violent, I guess, okay? And so you end up having all these rabbits that grow large and are violent. And they call in, when they realize the rabbits can't be controlled in the situation, they call in the National Guard, and they recruit a large group of people at a drive-in theater to help herd the rabbits with their car lights, with assistance from the machine gun fire of the National Guard. The National Guard ends up killing the rabbits. So here's your National Guard. They're burning rabbits and they're mowing them down so that you have like this. All those are dead rabbits, like this huge field of gigantic dead rabbits. I mean, they're really, it's actually funny. Here, I got one scene here. It's one of the worst. I've not seen the movie, but I've seen excerpts of the movie, clips. I couldn't find the movie itself. It's from 1972. But this is a gigantic rabbit attacking this guy.
Well, welcome to the 2018 White House Easter egg roll. So many people, it was supposed to be pouring, the weather. It was supposed to be very rainy and nasty and cold and windy. And look what we have. Perfect weather. Perfect weather. Beautiful weather. Thank you all for being here, folks. Thank you all. I want to really thank the First Lady, Melania, who has done an incredible job. She worked so hard on this event, and so I want to thank you. That's beautiful. Also, I want to thank the White House Historical Association and all of the people that worked so hard with Melania, with everybody, to keep this incredible house or building or whatever you want to call it, because there really is no name for it. It is special. And we keep it in tip-top shape. We call it sometimes tippy-top shape, and it's a great, great place. It's an honor to have everybody on behalf of the Trump family, many of whom are with us right here in the audience. I just want to thank you. This is a special year. Our country is doing great. You look at the economy, you look at what's happening. Nothing's ever easy, but we have never had an economy like we have right now, and we're going to make it bigger and better and stronger. Our military is now at a level, will soon be at a level that it's never been before. It's, you see what's happening, and you see what's happening with funding. The funding of our military was so important, and so many military people are with us today. So just think of $700 billion, because that's all going into our military this year. So I want to thank you all for being here. The band, unbelievable. I love you people. I hear them a lot. They're as talented as anybody and any players anywhere. So thank you very much. And now I'm going to come down and we're going to watch this roll. Thank you all and have a great time. Thank you. Happy Easter. Thank you very much.
I'm just throwing this out there. 1972. I'm not sure it's actually that valuable. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. It may have shaped it. The book that this is based off of, you can read about if you want. The Year of the Angry Rabbit. It was basically a comedy book. It was made to be funny. The movie was not made to be funny. It still was funny, it looks like, but it was not made to be funny. And this book that this was based on, again, is related to basically trying to develop a way of controlling the rabbit population that backfires, creates angry rabbits that need to be wiped out. And then it ends up leading to wiping humanity off the face of the earth, or at least that's implied. So let me get back to Donnie Darko. That was a little sidetrack. What we have here is, remember this scene where we have 3 lights. This is the conjunction. Here's the reflected light, I think suggesting moon. And it is at Roberta Sparrow's house. That's where they're going at the very end of this 28 days, 6 hours, and so on. That night after midnight, they're riding out to see Roberta Sparrow because Donnie thinks it's important to get whatever information is from her, to have her help to make sure he does things correctly to get back to the primary universe. Now, they go there, and here are the lights that we've already seen. What happens when you scan down from those lights is we see the cellar door. And Donnie looks at us, says, you see his facial expression here is sort of like, cellar door. And he says it, cellar door. And he's laughing because what happened in the classroom, the teacher had written cellar door on the board here. It's supposed to represent something beautiful. Okay, so Donnie looks at the blackboard. On it, she has written in perfect penmanship, cellar door. What's cellar door? A famous linguist once said that of all the phrases in the English language, of all the endless combination of words in all of history, that cellar door is the most beautiful. She was silent, and Donnie says, cellar door. Sometimes it's the only thing that keeps us going. It's interesting. The cellar door keeps you going. The cellar door is the most beautiful combination of words and sounds, phrases, okay, of all the phrases in the English language, and it's written beautifully, perfectly on the board here. Okay. Now let's see what the script says that we don't get from the film. This is going to help us understand it. Oh, will Donnie find his cellar door? And Donnie says, I think I already have, but now she won't even talk to me. The cellar door is a representation in the allegory, in the story, for Gretchen. Gretchen is who won't talk to him because Gretchen was upset about the rabbit conversation in the class. Remember, she looked at him in this way. She was annoyed. She says, you're wrong about the rabbits. That is all related to this frustration. And Donnie is feeling like he's lost his cellar door, his beautiful, attractive thing that keeps him going. Okay? And so this is, again, a way of looking at Gretchen. And notices, then go find her, Donnie. Don't let her get away. She was right about the rabbits. Go. Okay. So now Donnie has to go out there and find Gretchen his cellar door. She actually comes to him at the party. Then they go out and they go to this cellar door. Now, interestingly, at the party just a little bit before, that was when he kissed her. And the scene indicates that they went to complete intimacy. So that's the scene. Now here, he goes to the cellar door, and what do? They go in. And these guys stay out. Okay? They go in. And when they go in, they find those 2 satanic guys. I call them satanic guys. They're really terrible, moral monsters. Very beginning of the film, you remember, early in the film, the first time Gretchen is seen after they leave the classroom, they go out to the sidewalk, and she's by herself before she asks Donnie to walk her home. She's by herself, and those 2 guys start to talk to her, basically sexually harass her. Now, when you go in the cellar door, now let's use our metaphor, the cellar door being Gretchen, okay, a representation here perhaps of sexual intercourse or whatever. You have Donnie and her in there. But then you also have, not those 2, but the 2 guys that threatened to rape her earlier. Okay, they end up in there, and that's when they attack Donnie and her. They put the knife to her throat. So I think we're seeing some symbolism there of the intimacy and its association. Again, it's confirmed that the intimacy is associated with horrible things. The idea, if I were to summarize everything then, that we have is the Deus ex machina, okay, is Frank the rabbit, Mr. Rabbit, the buck who runs everything, okay? This is Lucy in Watership Down, okay? And in Utopia, the devil being referred, the rabbit in the comic is represent the devil, okay, comes and kills who? Gretchen. Gretchen, unlike Donnie, when discussing Watership Down, said and accepted the teacher's teaching or the idea that we are the rabbits. Donnie seems to reject that. She doesn't. So I think we may be looking at some sort of an attack on the rabbits. The rabbits are people who love Donnie, that thought Donnie loved them. Perhaps they get taken out.
What did I tell you? 88 miles per hour!
So what do you think of my Trump Home mattress collection by Serta? Finally, the same luxury and comfort I demand in my hotels.
Oh, they'll never count sheep again.
Listen, why don't you come work for me?
What do you have in mind?
Something you were born to do.
Welcome to Room 9.
Looking good, number 9. Looking good.
Where's your dignity?
Drugs, terrorists, violent criminals, and child traffickers trying to enter our country. But Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer care more about the radical left than keeping us safe. The consequences? Drug deaths, violent murder, gang violence. We must not allow it. Every country defends their borders. President Trump wants to defend ours. The Democrats must stop playing politics and support real border security now.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Liberals care more about illegal immigrants than they do about our own citizens. It's time to put America first.
I salute this moment of crowning.
All laws, since primordial antiquity, were written to regulate land and sea separately. Laws pertaining to land became the law of the land, or rather natural or common law, and laws pertaining to the sea became law of the sea, or rather maritime admiralty law, which is international law and the same everywhere in the world, no matter where you go. All laws since time immemorial originate from and are based upon ecclesiastical or canon law via the ancient laws and ecclesiastical right of kings. Natural or common law primarily preserves the inalienable rights and needs of human beings who live on land, differing between nations. The law of the sea, or maritime admiralty law, primarily grants the right that is legal to conduct merchant, banking, corporate, international commerce. Seeing how living persons cannot live on or in water for extended periods of time, and the earth's seas have been used primarily for travel since antiquity, regulation of the sea for merchant, trafficking, shipping, and commerce through law became necessary for the merchants of nations to do business internationally. The law of the sea, maritime admiralty law, is universal and transcends all national boundaries and laws legally. What is legal is not necessarily lawful. Natural or common law, the law of the land preserving the rights and freedoms of living persons, is lawful. Maritime admiralty law, or UCC, Universal Commercial Code, is legal, and that legal robbery and murder. In ancient Rome, a Roman maxim law stated that he who will be deceived, let him be deceived, which means the responsibility of the deception is on the one that is deceived by it. Basically, if you get it up the hoop, or what we commonly refer to as being stiffed, shafted, that's your problem. Unbeknownst to everyone, maritime admiralty law, the international law of the high seas, came upon land like a flood and made every man, woman, and child since that time dead in the water. The word maritime comes from the Proto-Italic cognates mer, mar, mare, and mari, which all mean water. These cognates are found in words like commerce and merchant and maritime. The water that flows by currents in rivers is directed by the river banks. Water that flows in the world of maritime admiralty law is money, because money is water. Money is currency. It's liquid, as in liquid assets. Money, or monai, mono-I, or simply one eye, in maritime admiralty banking laws, is the lifeblood, the cash flow of the system of merchandising and traffic. To traverse this fictional world, there must be ships. Ships traverse water or the sea, and when they come to land, they come into a port. When you plug your electronic device into a computer, you're plugging it into a USB port, a universal serial bus port. The world of the internet is analogized with water as well. We have the deep web, and when you do a live social media broadcast on the internet, you are streaming the show. When a ship pulls into the port, it comes down a canal to where there is a dock, and there the ship is tied off. The ship's captain submits to the dockmaster a manifest of birth, a license and manifest of goods and services being delivered by the ship to the dock. The dockmaster signs the manifest claiming the cargo as property now of the ward, which includes livestock. All ships are female. A woman is a ship. A man is a fabricator. A man delivers semen into a vessel. The woman bears the cargo of the semen and labors for 9 months, wherein her water breaks, and the semen in the hold come down the birth canal through a port of entry and are delivered in a hospital delivery room. According to Black's Law Dictionary, a hospital is also a bank and also a church. The woman has shipped newly birthed Admiralty maritime product, stock, livestock, cargo. A doctor will untie the ship from the cargo, stock, the product, by cutting the umbilical cord to the ship or vessel and sign a birth certificate, a manifest of birth, after the cargo has been stamped or daubed by a footprint and fingerprint with blood and ink. And after the informants, which are your parents, sign the manifest, which is plainly written on the certificate itself, your parents, the informants, are informing the doctor that the cargo, the stock, is now delivered and can be claimed by signature. The doctor signs the certificate, making you now lost at sea as unclaimed corporate property, cargo, stock, product, commodity. You are now legally dead in the water, and your name appears in all capital letters and on every other legal document. Captain comes from the word capital, which means money or one eye, and equals water, the currency ration. All corporations are fictional. They exist on paper as a dead body vessel, just as your name in all caps on a birth certificate. The Constitution of the United States was formed in 1776, but the Constitution of the Incorporation of the United States was in 1871. The Corporation of the United States was formed in Delaware, Maryland in 1871 and became the United States, Inc. All citizens of U.S. Inc. have a license to work for U.S. Inc. They are employees. All corporations must have three things: a president, a vice president, and a secretary-treasurer. Everything in the world of merchant corporate banking law revolves around ships, as ships are carried by the water, which is the current sea, and all corporations are ships. If you want to have a car, you must have an ownership. If you want to be a citizen of a nation or country, you must get a citizenship. If you go into business with someone, you enter a partnership. If you want to learn a trade, you may enter an apprenticeship. Want to go to college and get your degree? Get a scholarship. Want to go buy a new car? You go down to the dealership. If you are traveling by car, you may enter a township before you enter the very town. When a man and woman get married, and the word invokes maritime admiralty law, they enter a business contract and obtain a marriage license to do business as a partnership. If you go to a church, which means a bank according to Black's law, you are going to a place of worship.
Everything is a vessel, a fictional ship created out of thin air on paper in the sea of corporate commercial banking laws of pirates of the high seas.
A person, according to Black's Law Dictionary, is a monster. According to canon law, Goyim, translated from the Hebrew to mean nations, cattle, chattel, animals, beasts, non-human according to rabbinical sources which are authoritative in ecclesiastical or canon law, which includes Talmudic rulings. Goyim have no rights. Admiral or admiralty laws apply to the authority of the captain, who is the admiral of the ship. Under common law, there's no such thing as a victimless crime, and a victim receives compensation and redress for damages. Aboard a ship, the captain can make any act of crime and he can impose sanctions accordingly. If you have a house and want to sell it, you put it up for sale. You are placing a sale on a ship which will set sail and dock to another port when sold. When you send a package somewhere abroad, you are shipping it, even though it's more than likely traveling by land. If you are losing your house, it's said that your house is underwater. If you get in trouble with the IRS, or if you go to prison, it's said you have landed in hot or deep water, and someone has to come and bail you out. The ship pulls into a port and gets tied off at a dock. When you go to a court, your case is placed in a docket. All courts in the land are judiciaries. They are judicial courts operating under mixed Roman, common, canon, and admiralty maritime law under a crown. They are ships docked on land. This, according to the Judiciary Act of 1789 passed by Congress, which made all district courts admiralty courts having maritime admiralty jurisdiction. The United States of America and the United States are two different entities. One is a corporation, the other employees of the corporation. The United States of America never ever did win its independence from the Crown in the Revolutionary War. The Treaty of 1783 upheld the tribute to the King's venture by the colonists, which means America remains to this day a British colony that pays tribute to the Crown, as imposed by the Charter of 1606. America was conquered. Liberty is not freedom. A sailor on a ship gets liberty when he's allowed to have a short leave from the vessel when the ship pulls into port. A dog has liberty on a leash when you take him for a walk. A prisoner gets liberty when he's allowed out of the cell into the courtyard for a few hours while under the careful watch of snipers. Liberty is a license. It is a privilege allowed by a ruler, owner, king, etc. to a subject of the same. America never has been the land of the free at any time. It's the land of liberty on the leash of the Crown.
The Union Jack represents the reunion of the United Kingdom of the 12 tribes of Jacob, or Jacob. The Union Jack is red, white, and blue, the same colors as the 3 crowns of Egypt. The Queen's punishing flail or whip is partially hidden under her arm. The flail or whip also originates with the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. The symbol of the bee can be found within the Queen's royal wardrobe. In ancient Egypt, bees were the symbol of Egyptian royalty, as well as the symbol of Egypt.
God save Queen Elizabeth. Long live Queen Elizabeth. May the Queen live forever.
The ancient pharaohs advertised their power with their image on coins and stone monuments. The power of the Queen worldwide is advertised with her image printed on more coins and stamps than any other head of state in history. The British Mint recently printed legal tender coins called the One True Ring and the Ring of Power. On one side of the coin is Queen Elizabeth II. On the flip side is the ring from Lord of the Rings. These legal tender coins printed by the British Mint raise the disturbing question, who is the real Lord of the Rings? One ring to rule them all.
The inscription on the ring reads, "One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness of their ignorance, find them."
It's that man again.
Ever had one of those nights that starts out like any other but ends up being the best night of your life?
Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
It was June the 22nd, 1990, our final day of school. There was Oliver Chamberlain, Peter Page, Stephen Prince, Andy Knightley, and me. They called me the King, because my name's Gary King.
Come on, once more. 5, 6, do it.
Newton Haven was our hometown, our playground, our universe, and that night it was the site of a heroic quest. The aim? To conquer the Golden Mile. 12 pubs along a legendary path of alcoholic indulgence. There was the First Post, the Old Familiar, the Famous Cock, the Cross Hands, the Good Companions, the Trusty Servant, the Two-Headed Dog, the Mermaid, the Beehive, the King's Head, the Hole in the Wall, all before reaching our destiny, the world's end. We took my car into town. I called it the Beast because she was pretty hairy. In the end, we blew off the last 3 pubs and headed for the hills. I remember sitting up there, blood on my knuckles, beer down my shirt, sick on my shoes, seeing the orange glow of a new dawn break and knowing in my heart life would never feel this good again. And you know what? It never did.
You're disappointed?
About what?
You didn't make it to the world's end.
No.
Just what is it that you want to do?
Well, we want to be free. We want to be free to do what we want to do. And we want to get loaded. And we want to have a good time. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a party.
She's a beauty. Yeah, but she's no beast. Hello, Peter.
Jesus. Gary.
The once and future king. I'm afraid the end is nigh.
What?
The world's end!
What do you mean?
You know what I mean. One night, 5 guys, 12 pubs. Let battle commence. But we can go back, see the guys, chew the fat, and it'll be just like it always was. Except this time, we are going to finish this thing once and for all.
You have a very selective memory, Gary.
Thanks.
You remember the Friday nights. I remember the Monday mornings.
Yeah, that's why we're going back on a Friday.
Why do you think none of us live in Newton Haven anymore?
Uh-huh.
Because it is a black hole. It's boring. It always was and it always will be. Why do you think none of us live in Newton Haven anymore?
Uh-huh.
Because it is a black hole.
Unbelievable.
Oh, yes.
Can't believe you bought another Granada Mark II.
What do you mean?
But this looks exactly like the car I sold you in 1989.
This is the car you sold me in 1989. Best 300 quid I ever spent.
This is the beast.
The Bible says in the book of Revelation 13, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Revelation 13, verse 18. The number of the beast is 666. The Monster Energy drink has the 3 Hebrew letters, which are the letter Vav, on the front of their can. Furthermore, this letter is the 6th letter in the Hebrew alphabet and can also represent the number 6. So the symbol for Monster Energy drink really is 666. Its motto is to unleash the beast.
The Daytona 500 is a legendary display of roaring engines, soaring spirits of the American skill, speed, and power that we've been hearing about for so many years. The tens of thousands of patriots here today have come for the fast cars and the world-class motorsports. But NASCAR fans never forget that no matter who wins the race, what matters most is God, family, and country.
Do you know how much trouble you could get into?
Do you know how much trouble I'm already in?
What's that supposed to mean? Wait, what the hell is this? Why are we even here?
We are here to get annihilated.
Have you got any plans for dinner at all?
We are here to get annihilated. Good evening, Raymondo. The prodigal son's return. Who's on the guest list tonight?
Come again?
The guest ales. We, sir, are doing the Golden Mile, and you have the honor of drawing first blood. What do you recommend?
There's one. It's Crowning Glory.
Rather fitting.
How's that?
I'm Gary King.
What?
So tell me more.
About what?
Crowning Glory, is it nutty? Is it foamy? Is it hoppy? Does it have a surprisingly fruity note which lingers on the tongue?
It's beer.
Mmm.
None of us live in Newton Haven anymore. Because it is a black hole.
He's dead, mate.
Five waters, please.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Me? They call me the king.
I am the chosen one.
And notice that path of totality takes it right through places such as Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Cleveland, and yes, the Youngstown area as well. So our hotel rooms may be booked up and our interstates may be really packed with a lot of people getting set to check out the eclipse of April 8th, 2024.
Hey, is Zone here yet?
For the millionth time, no. I will budge you the second he gets here. Jeez, I've never seen you so excited. You're like a little girl the morning her brother gets out of jail for beating up a cop. Or Christmas morning.
Michael Faraday!
This is like stepping back in time.
The past is prologue, Michael. Men like us have to keep looking to the future.
I've been going over this Millennium Project proposal. There's some great stuff in here. I do think you should tone down the Armageddon end of days rhetoric.
No need to worry, Michael. I have some good news. I'm the Messiah.
That's a good joke. That's great. You start with that and you keep them light.
No, Michael. I'm serious. The chosen one. The King of Kings. The Alpha and the Omega. You're looking at him.
Look, Owen, if this is some kind of joke, let me just say, good one. I get it. That's, ha.
I'm as shocked as you are, believe me. I'm as shocked as you are, believe me. This is a big responsibility. I mean, look at this.
Things to do. Banish Satan and the forces of evil. Build the New Jerusalem. Buy milk.
I keep forgetting to pick up milk.
Owen, you can't be serious.
Look, Michael, I know I'm supposed to be able to do this all by myself, being the Son of God and all. I know I'm supposed to be able to do this all by myself, being the Son of God and all. But I'm feeling a lot of pressure, so I was thinking, maybe you could help me.
Well, you want me to help you, what, banish Satan and establish God's kingdom on earth?
If you're not too busy.
So, I hear you've been out of the game for a while. Are you sure you're still as sharp as Mike says?
How long have you been dating your secretary?
About a week.
You like this, don't you? Yes, you do. Yeah. All right. That's about all, kiddo. There you go. There you are. You just stay right there, Rags, all right?
Poor Rags.
Good dog.
He's alive. It's a miracle.
I'm the Messiah. I'm serious. The chosen one. The King of Kings. The Alpha and the Omega. You're looking at him. My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit. Old man Peabody owned all of this. He had this crazy idea about breeding pine trees.
At the beginning of the movie, the mall Marty meets Doc at is Twin Pines Mall. After Marty goes back in time, runs over one of the twin pine trees, he comes back to the future and it's now Lone Pine Mall. Seriously, that is a giant metal sign that the art department had to make twice, then keep track of it for continuity based on which scene they were in. All for a visual joke most people missed.
Now what will it take for us to get that videotape? The end of the world.
I think you'll agree in that 9/11/2001 was one of the most Hollywood-esque, larger-than-life events that played out on all of our TV screens across the whole world. It's something that we'll never forget. I think most of us can even remember where we were when we found out about what happened and what was going on. I'm sure it doesn't surprise most that are in the truth-seeking community in this time that 9/11 was a satanic ritual, coming to that conclusion from many different angles, from many different ways, all leading to the same truth, that it was in fact representing the birthing of the new age of Antichrist, the ripping the veil, the bringing in of the beast police state system, and all manner of things, but also a blood sacrifice ritual into the wine press, Samson pushing down the 2 pillars. But this all correlates to what we've been looking into in the last video, what we've been looking into in regards to the cube behind the veil. It all links in together, and in this video we're going to have a look again through Solomon's temple, Herod's temple, how this all correlates to Jesus Christ when he died and rose again, and the veil was ripped in that temple to reveal the cornerstone that was behind the veil. And this all links together with 9/11 and many different things. So let's have a look at this. So 9/11 2001 IXXI, many believe, or some believe, that Jesus himself was born on 9/11 3 BC, which is pretty interesting because 9/11 2001 is an inversion of that 9/11 2001 3 AD. But this event, this horrific event that happened on 9/11 2001, we've discussed this before in terms of the 2 pillars, like Samson pushing down the 2 pillars, north and south, plus and minus, just like the pillars in Freemasonry, Yashin and Boaz, plus and minus. So the male and female, the parents, and just like that Samson figure pushing it down in the Bible. And then you've got the child here, which in terms of what we're looking at the moment, as I say, there's many different ways of understanding the nature of this satanic ritual, because there's many different paths and roads that lead to the same conclusion. But the World Trade Center 7 representing that cornerstone. Now remember, Jesus Christ is our true cornerstone, and this all involves inverting. It's to do with the Antichrist. They're trying to bring in, they're trying to open the pit, they're trying to bring in the Antichrist and the age of the Antichrist. So that involves smashing this cornerstone, as per usual, smashing this stone. So just to put it very simply, this is exactly what we're looking at when we look at that. We're looking at the figure pushing down the 2 pillars and the veil breaking, just like when Jesus died on the cross and the veil was rent, and the cube collapsing, the cornerstone collapsing behind the veil. Now G is the 7th letter of the alphabet. So that is exactly what that's representing there, including the generative principle. But you see how when these pillars come down, collapsing the cube, the cornerstone, G equals 7, building 7, and then rebuilding into a new tower, which would be the transfigured 3rd temple, but of the material world. Because when Jesus Christ defeated the curse, ripped the veil, and defeated death and sin, which is, we'll go into in another video how we see the truth of the gospel through this. He rose again in the true 3rd temple. Jesus Christ is the temple of the living God. He rose again out of the curse of sin and death. The grave could not hold him, and he rose again and became our true 3rd temple. And when we're in the body of Christ, we are safe in our Father's hands. So that G, as we looked before, the Tesseract, the GameCube, is to do with portal. Remember, ripping the fabric of time and space. And it's all represented, as I've shown before, here and here again, the 2 towers with that G in the center, bringing in Lucifer, opening the window. And 9/11 being a sacrifice into the wine press, level 7 in the womb, the winepress, and the blood of the innocent, as they always do in these satanic rituals, into the winepress. So essentially we're looking at this figure here, Samael, Samson, son of Samael, son of Satan, pushing down these two pillars. You see, this is the Freemasonic G, the square and the compass that he's standing in between and pushing down the two pillars. And of course, building 7 was collapsed. So he was, you remember the story of Samson, when he pushed down the pillars, he was killed. So that would be the same kind of allegory there, the bringing down that and rising into a new tower, rising into a new transfigured tower, the One World Trade Center. And this is what it's all about. IXXI. IXXI is 9/11 in Roman numerals. And look what is in the center of IXXI. It's a hexagon, which is a 3-dimensional cube. And that's what it was all about. It was a direct inversion of when Jesus Christ died on the cross and the veil was rent. This is exactly an inversion. See, that World Trade Center 7, the collapse, the smashing of the cornerstone, a direct inversion of Christ, this is what they're representing, you see. It's the same as the breaking of the egg, the cracking open of the egg, and the rising of the son of Lucifer. You see what's in the center there. It's about portals, it's about opening the womb, it's dimensional, it's ripping the fabric of time and space, bringing down the two pillars of our society in many different ways. Remember, all of these have different layers of meaning, because the spiritual is incredibly deep, and it doesn't just kill one bird, it kills multiple birds with one stone, cracking open the egg, that cube. And this being XX, which is the seal of Saturn, and the compass draws the circle, and this is a square, that's time and space. This is all about bringing down the reality in which we live, essentially, and rebuilding into their new age of Horus Luciferian age that they're trying to desperately to bring in. Remember, 9/11 happened just after the millennium. It happened in 9/11/2001, just after the big hype about the millennium. You see the way that this works? You see the way that Satan is constantly copying, counterfeiting, and the way that Satan is constantly desperate. Well, this is what it's all about, because Jesus Christ, when he died on the cross, he cracked through time and space, because he died on the sword in the stone. He cracked through time and space. There was an earthquake, and people came out of their graves. And you see, when he died and rose again, it was a huge victory over Satan's kingdom. And as such, they are desperately trying to get out of what they are stuck in. They are stuck in the womb, in the matrix. And all of this is contributing over these years, over these end times. As things build up and build up, you see the society changing, doubly each year, doubly, triply, you know, just really changing. This is all a process this is all a process of the beast coming upon the earth. This is all a process of the matrix coming upon the earth, and heading towards the time that the Bible says that the world will start to wander after the beast. So that is exactly it right there. All contained in there. Just like this Dali painting, the rising of the sun, the cracking open of the egg, the heart of the earth. The yolk, the egg, the heart of the earth, the cracking open. We're going to go more into how Jesus defeated Satan's kingdom in the future. And that obviously all involves the heart of the earth, as Jonah was in the belly of the great fish. The Antichrist, the false Christ, comes from the heart of the earth. And it's all about this, guys. It's all about this 911 IXXI, the generative principle, as above, so below. Alchemy, fire and water, the perfect storm, hot meets cold. All the same representations. 7, level 7, the womb. The tombstone is the womb stone, the 2 pillars, the 2 towers, with the 3rd building in the centre, bringing it down. And speaking of cracking through time and space, you see how between the 2 pillars here, portal, black sun portal, between the 2 towers, cracking through time and space. And that is exactly it right there. And you see how this is a complete inversion of Christ, of Jesus Christ. This is Antichrist. This was an Antichrist ritual. A complete inversion. Because right there you've got the ISIS figure, the false light, and the two pillars through the twin towers. And with the building 7, so you get them pillars, you get those pillars coming down, you got the figure in the centre of it, bringing these down and collapsing building 7, which would be the cornerstone, the cube. Just like we said about the cube fell open behind the veil in Herod's temple. The cube fell open when Jesus was crucified and the veil broke. Well, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Except this time, this is coming from within the womb. This is coming the other way. This is coming out. Everything of Christ is inverted with the Antichrist. So this is what you get. The 2 towers, the twin towers, the veil, and you'd get this ISIS figure on the cube there, see, on the cornerstone, coming through the veil from the other way. And it's about breaking it out of the womb. It's about breaking the fallen out. All of this coming through the veil. Samsung G. Samsung, son of Sam. Samael. Samael. Another name for Satan. Samael, son of Sam. So Samsung, break this word up. Sam, Son, G. Between those pillars, like Samson. Samson, son of Sam. Samson, G. The G between the 2 pillars in Freemasonry, within the IXXI, pushing down the 2 pillars, the son of Sam, pyramid there in the logo for Samsung. And it comes from the womb of Saturn. If you don't believe me, if you think that's absolutely ludicrous, well, just keep looking at the evidence which is all around us. Look at this album cover just for one example. Dizzy Wright, look at this. You see there how round the edges it's got the vinyl. Well, the vinyl round the edges stands for the rings of Saturn. So you can see on this album cover called the Golden Age, which is many will know what that is, the Golden Age of Saturn, the return to Eden. So you've got the rings of Saturn round the outside. You've got this lady, this woman in the centre. It's about Cain's house, you know. Coming through that door, she's pregnant. She's pregnant, so this is coming out of the womb. So there you've got right there, this is coming out the womb, which is in Saturn. You've got the mother there with a pregnant belly. The golden age, the whole thing is transfigured to gold. So it's the transfigured ox, the transfigured, the belly of the beast. This is shown time and time again. Time and time again. And she's got like an ultrasound. The prince of the power of the airwaves. This is shown time and time again. Them breaking out of the womb, the age of Horus, the Antichrist, the transfigured Isis, the false Jesus, the counterfeit Messiah. Many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and shall deceive many. They want to deceive even the very elect. So you understand that this figure, like the Samson type figure in that role, pushes down the two pillars at the expense of thousands of people as blood sacrifice of the innocent, and then rebuilds into like the rise of the phoenix, like the new age of Lucifer. And that is exactly what's playing out, and that's exactly what they plan, what the elite plan, what the fallen plan. And that is a direct inversion of what happened with Jesus Christ, because he is the truth, and this is the only way for them to do it, because they have to do what they need to do. They're not playing about here. These are real rituals. These have to symbolically pertain to what it needs to for it to be effective and for it to work. They're not just doing it because they're evil. They're not just organising these mass human sacrifice things because they're evil. They're doing it because there's a very specific and targeted purpose. Even since the days of Aleister Crowley, they've been trying to do this. God bless you guys.
Sometimes I'm afraid that you'll tell me that this is not a work of fiction. I can only hope that the answers will come to me in my sleep. I hope that when the world comes to an end, I can breathe a sigh of relief, because there will be so much to look forward to.
We cannot allow any other country to outcompete the United States in this powerful industry of the future. We are leading by so much in so many different industries of that type, and we just can't let that happen. The race to 5G is a race America must win, and it's a race, frankly, that our great companies are now involved in. We've given them the incentive they need. It's a race that we will win. To accelerate and incentivize these investments, my administration is focused on freeing up as much wireless spectrum as needed. We're going to free it up so they'll be able to get out there and get it done, and removing regulatory barriers to the build out of networks. But we must not rest. The race is far from over. American companies must lead the world in cellular technology. 5G networks must be secure. They must be strong. They have to be guarded from the enemy. We do have enemies out there, and they will be. They must also cover every community, and they must be deployed as soon as possible.
We're ready.
Hell yeah. Been looking forward to this.
Modulating frequencies now.
It's time. Let's light it up.
Are you ready, Neville? Pre-check.
Check.
Check. Okay, Neville.
In T-minus 3, 2, 1. Ready to launch. Hit the button.
Here we go.
It's working. It's working.
Nationwide 5G is live.
Yeah. And we're just getting started.
Wait until they see what's next.
Soon, my friend. Very soon.
On my count. 3, 2, 1.
Well, at one point we suspected 7i might be the ground station for a secret space-based weapons program called GoldenEye, but... EMP? It would account for the MiGs and the satellites. And the blackout.
The Janus Group?
Electromagnetic pulse, a first-strike satellite weapon developed by the
Americans and Soviets during the Cold War.
So what do you know about Janus? Zilch. Zips. No one's ever seen him. But the man's connected up the gazoo. KGB, military.
The son went to work for the government whose betrayal caused the father to kill himself and his wife.
Hence, Janus.
Two-faced Roman god come to life. It wasn't God who gave me this face. In 42 seconds, the United Kingdom will re-enter the Stone Age.
A worldwide financial meltdown.
It was you setting the timers for 3 minutes instead of 6.
Am I supposed to feel sorry for you?
No. You're supposed to die for me.
has and I just mentioned one of the options. I mean, he could immediately, on his order, seize every single one of these machines around the country on his order. He could also order within the swing states, if he wanted to, he could take military capabilities and he could place them in those states and basically rerun an election in each of those states. I mean, it's not unprecedented. I mean, these people out there talking about martial law, it's like it's something that we've never done. Martial law has been instituted 64 times.
Following a disputed election and a tie vote, the U.S. Congress installs the most unpopular president in U.S. history as David Jefferson Adams becomes the 44th President of the United States. Shortly after the election, increased unrest, rioting, and a growing number of militias have given rise to ever-increasing domestic terrorism. In response, the president invokes the Homeland Security Act and declares martial law on the West Coast and other areas of the country. Though highly contested, a Supreme Court ruling sidesteps the electoral process, disqualifying popular presidential candidates from several states. Public outrage explodes when a sham election leads to incumbent David Adams accepting a second term in office. During the 57th Inauguration Day ceremonies, Washington, D.C. is struck by a low-yield nuclear weapon, killing David Adams and most of the U.S. Congress. The destruction of Washington, D.C. effectively breaks the chain of succession, sending the nation into chaos. In an emergency vote, the European Union deploys peacekeepers in the greater D.C. area to secure international interests. With separatist sentiment rising, California's governor declares home rule and secedes from the Union. Texas follows quickly and declares sovereignty, taking neighboring states with them and forming the Republic of Texas. Now, the once United States of America lie in ruin. The time for words has passed, and a second American Civil War now erupts as 7 factions wage war across the land. They battle one another to reclaim a nation, to restore peace, to rebuild this shattered union.
It leads you here, despite your destination. Under the Milky Way.
Basic principles of time travel are there. That's one. Portal. That's what could be just about anyone most likely to spacecraft.
Like a DeLorean.
No crafts.
You know, I love that movie, the way they shot it. It's so, like futuristic, you know?
6 hours,
42 minutes, 12 seconds. Is when the world will end.
calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
But a bright line in the sand, and we will protect you, that I can tell you, and we will say enough is enough.
In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains. Look, we need to reform the criminal justice system to make sure black mothers feel confident when they send their son out on the street that he's going to be safe. We got to recognize that kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids. And if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
If we turn against each other based on divisions of race or religion,
Come on, try getting it out.
Ding, 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 bong. That's all, folks.
Are you there?
What are you doing with the rest of your life?
Catching up on some me time, find God.
My soul loves Jesus. My soul loves Jesus. My soul loves Jesus. Bless his name. My soul, it loves Jesus. Oh, yes it does. Oh, yes it does. Oh, yeah, my soul. My soul. Over in the midnight hour, my soul. He speaks to my soul. Tells me everything is gonna be all right. My soul. It loves Jesus. I'm so glad my soul loves Jesus. Bless his name.